Check out the new documentary Masquerades of Montserrat. Alright, you can download it, you can get the DVD, whatever. We got it going on. The Masquerades of Montserrat, Part 1. This origin was always a mystery and remains a mystery up to this day. There has been a few theories as to how it came to the shores of Montserrat, its body masking, its quadrilles, and even its music. Because masquerades back then, it was more community. It was like every village had their masquerades, and then there were these seniors that you admired, that you respect, and you only saw these people as masquerades. It doesn't matter what else they were doing, if they had other careers, you don't even know. But you saw them as masquerades. Even though we have masquerades today, you know the fear is not there, the scare is not there, the seriousness of using the whip, and as I learned back then, the senior masquerades would actually have the power to arrest other masquerades. We don't have that today, so it has evolved, and yeah, like everything else in life, we gotta live with it. But as someone who witnessed the authenticity, it's, I personally think something is missing, and I guess that's how it's gonna be forever, because it would be hard to then go back and recreate. To understand this enchanting and captivating piece of our culture, I've rounded up some of the key persons in our community to help us unravel some of the mysteries about the Masquerades of Montserrat. Other than the obvious beginnings that masquerading began in Africa, I wanted more. I also wanted to get to the bottom of what makes the Masquerades of Montserrat so unique. So I first sat down with Dr. Clarice Barnes, Professor of Education.
Well, once you're a masquerade, all of you is supposed to be covered. And so there's a head mask, there's a face mask, and there's a body mask, which is what the pants and the shirt, with all the ribbons and the mirrors, and each of those have significance. And of course it varies from wherever you are. As you look here, you could see these are masquerades out of Mali. And they have head masks, face masks, and body masks. Everywhere is covered. And it's interesting that we are talking about the Montserrat head mask, which is a bishop's mitre, and it probably is connected with the Montserrat history of English and Irish people being present here. And the fact that the Irish, who were mainly Catholics, had Catholicism outlawed, and the English would poke fun at the Irish. We know all Pope's night in Montserrat is about burning effigies of the Pope.
Yes.
So this is actually part of making fun of Catholics. But then, having said that, if we look back at the masquerades from Mali, look at the headdress. You see,
Different.
It's not very different. It is still a very pointed head piece, which is not shaped like this. But it then tells us that when we are making interpretations, that we have to interpret very, very complex symbolisms. And then you asked about the face mask.
Yes.
And the face mask for the Montserrat Masquerade is the pink wire gauze mask, which is was very, very commonly used in masking within Europe on the stage. Actors use this type of mask. But of course, the face that was impressed upon it by Africans here in Montserrat makes it very unique to the Montserrat Masquerade. You have these masks up and down the region, wherever they masquerade. But this face is one that it appears to be looking at you from various angles. And that's what signifies it. But within the masking traditions of Africa, you have wooden face masks, as you can see in these two examples. Or you have feathers, or you have bronze masks, or you have, you can have raffia, you can have cloth masks. The main thing is that the face is covered, because you're not supposed to know who's behind the mask. The masquerade is supposed to be, it represented something out of the spiritual world, and as it is practiced in Africa. And here in Montserrat, Master Reggie tells me that it's a spiritual thing. And the other thing is that once you're behind the mask, enslaved Africans could act out in ways they would not have been able to do without the mask. And I've seen in my time people masked and really having a good time in a way that they wouldn't do normally. I used to see Mr. John Wall well masked up and dancing and behaving in ways that he would not have done in his everyday life. So that is the face mask. The body mask now, which is the shirt, the jacket, I would say that it's 18th century, 17th and 18th century costuming borrowed from the Europeans in the style that is used, the pantaloon and the top, and then there's a little apron that is there as well. The interesting thing about this is that our friend in Montserrat, scholar, Mr. What's his name again? Oh dear. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm not remembering, but I'm going to remember soon. Mr. Donahue.
Okay, Donahue.
Mr. Eddie Donahue has written extensively about the Montserrat Masquerade, and he spoke about the practice as that of role reversal, where men dress up as women, which is part of the mask, you see. So what we are seeing, it appears to be woman's dress, and it has all the lace on it and all the things that are associated with women. But European male dress of the 17th and 18th century was very feminine looking, if we are to interpret from our eyes nowadays. But he sees that the masquerading roles as role reversals, you see. And that's interesting because we always talk about the masquerade as just the men who dance masquerade. But there is part of the masquerading tradition, the guppies, that is also masquerade. And in the guppies, the women, they dress as women, but they are also portraying some male things. You know, there's a phallic symbol that some of the women carried under their dress. You know, it's as if the whole idea was to draw attention to the fact that there's something there that everybody wants to find out what it is. And it was supposed to be a penis, you know, you see. So in the male masquerades, the role reversal is that of male to female, and in the guppies, it is females trying to do male things, you see. I'm certain that you will recognize from the things that I'm saying that the masquerade is a great mystery. And it had to be a great mystery, because when a masked person goes out on the street, the idea of masking is to make it mysterious. So whether we are looking to see whether there are Irish traditions, European traditions evident in the masquerade, or African traditions evident in the masquerade, the main thing is that it's a mysterious thing. The mask, whether body, face, or head, you know, amounts to a mystery. All of us are trying to find out what it is all about. You had around Christmas time Europeans who went out on the street masked as mummers. They played the fool, they sang, they did all of these things. So some people believe that some of this is about mummers, the European mummers. But then, having observed that bit, then we can't be sure, because the rest of it, you know, does not fit in with that. And I was in Liberia recently, and at Christmas time, masquerades were out, children were out, doing what would be described as the mumming that the Europeans were doing, but Liberia does not have that connection with Europe, in that way. And what I was seeing had nothing to do with Europe. But people, when it comes to end of year, they have their ways of marking the end of year. And I think that's what I was seeing, you see. So probably in these respects, people around the world are more alike than we think. So the important thing about all of this is to try and understand the different bits of the puzzle, but to know that we will never be able to come down on one side or the next about where it came from, and when it started, because it started long before time. People used to say, what happened before your time, you just know that it exists.
Well, Dr. Barnes gave me the general makeup of the masquerade culture on Montserrat, but I wanted to know specifically what group of people started it, how, and when. So I went to see poet and historian and former professor of Eastern Caribbean Studies at the University of West Indies, Dr. Howard Fergus.
Well, I think masquerade originated in Africa, that African slaves brought the dance, the ritual to Montserrat. But it was creolized here, and therefore let me not say may have, it included other elements, European elements. For instance, one or two of the dances, take the quadrille. The quadrille is in fact a European dance. But generally, the Montserrat masquerade originated in Africa, and the research shows that.
Okay. There are different theories as the masquerade remains a mystery. You rightly said it originated in Africa. There was one theory that masquerade was brought to Montserrat from Africa by a Montserratian. Anything along that line?
No, I don't think so. In fact, if you want to regard the slaves who came as forming part of the African diaspora, then there were people, and they were the ones who brought the masquerade. Masquerade was important because it gave slaves a chance at certain times of the year to get together as a community and celebrate. Because the masquerade is a very complex art. And let me just digress and say why I think it is so important to Montserrat is because it is an art that survived slavery. It survived the brutality of slavery. And this is why it has become for me the signature of Montserrat Creole art. So it was part of the heritage of the slaves. We like to think of heritage as European, and our culture is really an amalgam of European and African elements. But here's a strong, powerful African element that has formed, as it were, the signature, in my view, to the artistic culture of Montserrat, especially the Creole arts of Montserrat.
Okay, let's go back in time for a second. Just imagine these slaves on a plantation getting together to do this dance. Obviously there weren't costumes then. At what time and where would the inspiration behind the type of costuming or body masking, where would that come from?
Well, Eddie Donahue, who is one of the persons, along with Professor Clarice Barnes, who has made studies of the masquerade, he indicated that about late 19th century, or rather late 18th century, masquerade developed. I mean, by then life was going. I believe that masquerade in all its full resplendence, as we know it now, evolved and developed after slavery. In fact, I've seen a masquerade troupe of 1870, and then that's going further back, further enough. I've seen a picture, not just a picture, a photograph of a masquerade troupe in 1870, and by then the costume looked very, very similar to what we have today.
Right. Because when I did form the Masquerade group back in '89, after doing my little coming to the countryside and speaking to former masquerades or legendary masquerades, and I was told about getting the mirrors, the bells, the ribbons. I'm thinking there has to be some form of significance to that. The hat is there, the mask. In your research and your whole analogy, whole thing, is there any significance to the shape of the hat? And what's your take on the mask itself?
There is significance to the whole gear, the costume, the dress of the masquerades. And let us always remember that notwithstanding these were black people, they were intelligent, creative people who could write songs and write music and develop dances, and they could incorporate where it suited them. Now, much of the costume we know have certain significance because of studies done in Africa, because of studies of Yoruba culture. And it is felt that the slaves from Montserrat came from that whole area, as did some from other countries, which also have masquerades. And the headgear is particularly interesting because it points to something called a reversal of roles. The headgear, which looks like a mitre, a bishop's mitre, speaks to religion, and the church tried to Christianize the slaves, help them to forget the religion they came with. So in a sense, by in their play and ritual, using the mitre, they were turning, in my words, religion on its head. They were mocking this situation, but a serious kind of mocking, and writing their story. They were writing their own history, really, because it reflected slave society. Take something like the whip. They used to be beaten, and this was their chance. It was cathartic. It was getting it out of their system. This was their chance to symbolically beat the master. Of course, there were the other explanations for the use of the whip, because it was a way of driving away spirits, supposedly evil spirits, making a way for the dancers. But there's this element of reversal of rights where they had the chance now to beat symbolically the master. And the bells also, and the mirrors I think had to do with evil spirits and reflecting evil spirits and so on. And the whole ceremony, the dances with the variations of beat and rhythm had to do with rites that came from Africa, rites of fertility, rites of warfare. There are times when the masquerade, when the rhythm is strong, and you can look at some of their faces, and the anger, as it were, is reflected in the dance and the rhythm. So these are rites, R-I-T-E-S, of fertility and so on.
What I noticed about masquerade as I was growing up was the slow fading out of the culture. And I chalk it up to, as the people progress, masquerade retrogress. It's like you're advancing, you're getting into something bigger in your life, and you kind of leave masquerade behind. Because like, those three young groups I talked about, Kinsale, Corkhill, and secondary school, they faded out. By 1988, whereabouts there. Masquerade was dead, like completely. There was no masquerade groups in Montserrat whatsoever. And I remembered because when I participated in the Road to Rack team pageant, I remember using Masquerade as my talent, you know, and winning that competition. And I think it had such an impact because at the time there was no masquerade groups. So, you know, as someone who is big on the culture, I want to do something. I want to do something about it. So I remember getting Pops Morris, whom I roommate with at that time, and we went to John Wall Senior, and he sponsored us. I remember coming back to the countryside to see the legendary Jonelli, and because even though I knew the masquerade dances, the quadrilles, the different stuff, I wanted it to be authentic. So I remember coming back out here, spending time with Jonelli on a couple of occasions, getting familiarized with the history, getting back the trueness, the realness of the dance and the dance steps. And we went back to town. I remember we putting the group together with King of the Morning Show, Basil Chambers, Ragadan, Albert Semper, Pops Norris himself, some young kids from around the way, what's his name, Bumpy, and we created that masquerade group. I called it the Article Masquerade at that time. This was about 1989, and that Christmas was amazing because we were the only masquerade group at the time. We got Keith Roy B. Marston, who now teaches music and masquerade culture. I remember him drumming. He was our drummer, and it was a beautiful time. We had Hoka from Corkhill with us, and you know, at that time it was easy to get guys, even though most of the guys at that time were really new dancers within the masquerade thing. I just wanted to bring in new people, you know, and that was beautiful. That Christmas was amazing because we just dominated the whole season as being the only group. And from there, I remember leaving Montserrat, moving overseas, moving to New York, and I know Pops and those guys took it to another level. And today we have the young Shamilo's Masquerade, which, you know, stemmed out of the Article Masquerades. So that's pretty much, you know, the culture. But I remember asking Dr. Clarice Barnes as well as Dr. Howard Fergus, when you look at masquerades today, is it fair to say we have lost the realness, the trueness of the culture? Today we have every child still want to be involved, but the fear is not there, the meaning is not there. You know, is it okay to say that we've lost the culture?
No, we never lose culture really. Culture changes, culture evolves, and I get uneasy when we talk about culture and masquerade, because we tend sometimes to think of culture as a little bit of dance and a little bit of masquerade. What has happened is that we have formalized masquerade more. A masquerade used to be a Christmas event where rehearsal began maybe at Guy Fawkes night or 5th of November or thereabout. But now it has become so compelling and so much a representative of Montserrat and its culture that when visitors come, at whatever time, you want to share with them. So people, young people grow up seeing masquerades throughout their lives and throughout the year, and they know it's John Tom from down the road is dancing, and we now even have children who are part of masquerades. So I think what is the mystique and not the mystery, and complexity is the mystique that may have gone.
I think what I'm trying to get to is what we grew up knowing masquerade to be. Like I said, they come in your yard. As a child, you may even run under the bed. We do not have that today. What masquerade meant to us and what it means to these kids today, obviously there's an obvious difference. I think what I'm trying to say is, does it make sense trying to drive home the message to this generation what it was to us then, or just have them accept it for what they know it to be today?
I think they have to accept it and inform it by their own thought and thinking and action, because as we say, these things evolve. In a sense, it reflects what has happened to Christmas. Christmas celebration was spontaneous activity in villages where people went from village to village. Now it is staged, it is formalized, and I think that is symbolic of what has happened to every element of Christmas, and masquerade is no exception. What I would like to see though is that the pristine music and dance are retained, and I don't like to see a modernization of the movement and the dance. Some people may disagree, but this is my personal opinion, that we need to retain the pristine movements and the pristine music as they were at the origin.
Okay, well, I want to say thank you very much, and I think we can wrap up there. I know you have a poem. Can you give us a few lines or words to that poem?
Yes, I'll read a few lines from a poem, because in a way it says, perhaps better than I've been saying, some of what masquerade is about, and the fact that it's unavoidable, it's central to our Creole culture. Bet on the masquerades to save the dying day. The glossolalia drums with syncopated beat, hypnotic and infectious, redolent of Africa.
Cut. Come to. All right, let's start from yes.
Yeah. Reading this poem gives me a chance to say that even the drums spoke, the drums communicated, they gave a message, and this is why drums were banned. In Montserrat, there's a law which banned the use of drums, because slaves could communicate with one another through the drums. Hear this. Bet on the masquerades to save the dying day. The glossolalia drums with syncopated beat, hypnotic infections, redolent of Africa, dainty quadrilles, riotous steps like nimble-footed antelopes, leave you spellbound. The pink-rouged, visored faces like accoutrements of war, frightened children in an innocent age, mitigated only by the bishop's mitre, which turned religion on its head. With such a dance ensemble and emblematic gear, let there be no surprise. I'll be back next year. Thank you.
Lovely. Just when I thought we had done our best on the origin of the Montserrat Masquerade, I was told by calypsonian and instructor at Bayes Music School, Keith Roy B. Marson, that I must go and see the legendary Mackinson Lee, the oldest living masquerade on the island. He warned me that Mr. Lee was a very difficult man, but I was so excited. I called him and scheduled an interview for 3 p.m. the next day. We got to his house in Lower Fritz Salem and sat around for about an hour. With my daughter getting antsy and the production crew getting frustrated, someone spotted him in his kitchen. He came to the door and said he was not prepared for the interview and he would like to reschedule, but he will give us a briefing.
Communal.
So, in the interview, we want to go for them
and communal, man.
One step or something. Me have one.
Me go tell you who bring masquerade in this country. The man named Mingo will. He be uncle. He bring it here.
Yeah.
Mingo weird?
Yeah, we go with Liverpool. He died now by me Liverpool.
Okay. That when the first masquerade come here.
He bring it here in this country.
So let me ask you.
He bring it here. He's the man bring it masquerade here.
Yeah.
Get it from Africa. We used to see only back and team and this corner.
So he could bring the music and the dance and the costume and everything for one man?
He didn't bring it. Tell us.
Oh, you tell us about this story.
Yeah.
He tell us how the masquerade come here. He bring it here. He tell us everything. Right now the elders and got no doctor which part they have this country on a bridge.
Yeah.
A day. Brother Bunting Goppa. Bunting Goppa at the Adventist Church and bring the whole map down. You hear?
Yeah.
And he turned it back and traced the map to us. You said of us down here work for government. Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean tell us every right to Israel with that.
All right. So Sunday you will tell us.
It says here, it's 5 boat, King George sent out 5 boat, they want to turn out, then you see water.
King George from England?
Yes, Mark suffer and no further. And 5 schooner went out to see which part is on me. Right? And 4 of them go. So them and not come back. How he get to come back? Because the wind change. The wind change. And so he come back and then he hit Africa. And when he go in Africa, I told you so when he go in Africa, he stays cities, man and dance. They call it Janko, no? You hear? What you hear me tell you about that boy? Right? And he bring it here and he carry them and steal him. He will turn them. And from the time that he might hear about that, he let water off and then water in the back.
Will Pan come back and steal him?
No, he start dance masquerade in the tongue. And then he masquerade start from a ceiling to tongue. And then they take them all the Harrises and they dance different to me.
Right.
Listen to me. You know who in this city speak nice?
And who in the country?
Speak different and
So-
they go.
So that's why the masquerades have different dancing.
That's right. We not ask him to tell you everything from A to Z. That's what he tell us.
No, we also going to interview what the man named Reggie. Right now we have an interview with Reggie from Gages. You know the masquerade there?
Reggie dead.
Reggie dead?
He could have danced good masquerade.
Yeah.
And me tell my friends that he's the man.
Reggie.
Reggie.
We have the interview with Reggie already.
He could blow us. You know what I mean by blow us?
Blows are when you shake out your gown, your costume.
No. When you shake out your collar, you go too high. You tell the white man if you kiss you sit down.
Yes. That are the shake up. That are the shake up.
You know when you show up the coat.
When you show up the coat, you say,
And you shake up too high. You hear?
Yeah.
The black man and tell the white man to kiss when they sit down.
Yes, I tell you. All right.
And you
So
talk and me listen. And you do what you have to do.
yeah. See. So Reggie and you around, are you start dancing on the same time? Am I right?
I don't know when it's up, but me meet up at Gages. And when me meet up at Gages, we was going to Harris's.
So you were dancing from Salem to Harris's?
And we walk from Salem to town and go Gages and meet up there. And me call for #1 quadrille and make one move and make it right in him.
So back then masquerade it used to be competition, right?
Yeah, masquerade was good them days, man. They dance it the right way. Listen, Salem and dance it the right way. Because the band tell us how to move. He the man that bring a war horse here near Mingo with my uncle. War horse.
From where? England?
You talk, you listen me now.
I will listen to you.
From England,
So he bring the war horse from England?
yes.
And he is the same man who went to Africa and come and tell you.
He's the man that bring it here. Why you this and that, I listen me now.
Yeah,
Oh, you
man.
listen of course.
But me going to tell you everything from A to Z.
So Sunday.
Excuse me here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sunday 3 o'clock.
Sunday, Mr. Mackinson.
As a country kid, you know, there were few indicators when it's Christmas time. One would be people going around singing Christmas carols from house to house. And, you know, I remember doing that as a kid and making money. But the biggest thing was masquerades. Once you're in the country, it's quiet, so you can hear when the drum beats miles away, you can hear them coming. So you start preparing. Sometimes you go and you meet them. So once you start hearing that drum, and masquerade was scary, but traveling with the masquerade groups would be what we call John Bull. And if you think masquerades were scary, John Bull was like 10 times scarier. I remember running from John Bull is this, usually what I remember as a kid was a tall, dressed in red mask with horns and a long fork. And I remember running under my mother's bed, and I don't think anybody could have saved me. I thought that was it. I thought I was gonna die. He was gonna get me. He was gonna kill me. That's how scary that whole masquerading, which includes the masquerades and John Bull, was back then. So as we move on and we talk about the progressing or the advancement of masquerade, in secondary school, going to high school, I remember there were, you had masquerades from every village, but then there were these 3 young masquerade groupings. You had the Kinsale masquerades, you had Corkill masquerades, and you had secondary school masquerades. I must admit, when I left Mr. Lee's yard, I was taken aback. I heard that theory of a monstration going to Africa back in the 40s. Some masquerade and brought it back to Montserrat before. But hearing it from a legend like Mr. Mackinson Lee left me dumbfounded, but yet very curious. I couldn't wait for that sit-down interview with him. It was Sunday around 2 p.m. and the production crew cautiously gathered ourselves and headed over to sit down with Mr. Lee, hoping he was ready this time.
Me had me deal with up there. Not even a black communist, not black people in Chelsea.
All right, Mr. Magazine.
Yeah.
Word on the street in Montserrat is that you are pretty much the last living masquerade of that era, of your generation.
In Montserrat.
In Montserrat.
Right.
So we want you to tell us at what age you started dancing masquerade and how much masquerade meant to you growing up.
Good. I spent a good time with that. When I started dance masquerade first, I was 10 years of age. Listen, I could have swim. Just listen to me. I could have swim. I could have dive. I do everything. My brother, when I was reached 12, my brother Dada Isles, my brother called him Bill. He says to me, young boy, Will Pan want to go dance masquerade, you know. He said, me too smart for that, man. He said, you're a big man now. You come a big man now. You're nearly 12, so you could dance. He said, me can't buy clothes. He said, he sought me out. He give me £4. Tell me go and buy your clothes. And me go in town, Miss Annie eat. He said, Magazine, you come? He said, Miss Annie, me come buy some cloth to make me masquerade clothes. He looked for me and said, okay. First, hear me dance. Before that, yes, the first year when I dance, me make £6 in money. And when me come in and my grandmother ask me, Magazine, you will hear? I say, yes, Mama. Me give you £2 until he has this for your clothes. Because me can't give you no more. I make you the book now, I know you.
So £6 back then was a lot of money.
He said, oh, yes. Great money.
And that's from going from house to house?
From house to house, dancing masquerade. So I feel great. My grandmother asked me, Max, you love masquerade? I said, Mama, I love masquerade. He tell me, you must get respect for yourself and for he, and for she, and for Chris Fenton, my cousin. So he tell me, don't get yourself in no trouble, because I don't want to let on Chris Fenton. I said, fear, that's what my grandmother tell us our house. So we coming up now, and the same area, John Banks, me a captain.
Who was the captain?
Will Pani used to be the captain. And Will tell me that same year, Magazine, you could dance better than his brother John Barracks. Because John Barracks can't dance, but me got the style. That's why they put me warrior. I'm a little young boy.
So when you started out, you were the warrior?
Warrior.
The warrior is usually the youngest?
The warrior is the man that go out and bring in people. You could dance good, you show up yourself and people come and look at you.
Right.
Call that the warrior.
Right.
So he says to me, he will put me the warrior. And the matter of fact that the same year, he died. So therefore, we go dance mate. So me say, okay.
You went from warrior to mate?
Me no reach mate yet.
Okay.
I still warrior. But after Will die, I said, well, everybody said, well, you don't know what to do. We make up another set. And John Barry said, here we go, Captain. From after his brother died, he take championship. And I began. So one day, we leave from CLM, so we're going to Cox Hill, so one Friday. So a matter of fact is this, some of the people, them, it was 6 of us. 3 went down from Tank, you know the Tank be up there?
In Cargill?
No, in CLM here, when Dr. Louis got here,
Yes.
go down there. And we went down to there, it was the hillside and go down. And some then go around Happy Hill, go dance for Willie Gerald, because you pay good money. So matter of fact, when they come to a bridge now, it's a big joke. When we come to a bridge now, John Barry say, every man can get 6 lash. And he hands up, Pumpy gets 6, his cousin gets 6, everybody, when he come to Jackie Bass, me say, no. That's my father. You can't hit him.
So you're saying the captain decide he gonna lash everybody?
Everybody
In the group?
in the group. But everybody gonna jump around and hit you 6 lash. Call the music and you gonna get 6 lash from Stegma Watts.
With the whip?
With the whip. 6 lash class, you ask me this. You jump around and you... One time, 6 lash. Every man. So when he come to Jackie Bass, me say, no, hit him. And my father, he not into me, you know, but he's an older man. And the matter of fact is this, he hate me for that. We said, look, you don't like me face, so me not care. Me a man like you now, you can't do me nothing. I'm fast on them now. Me a man now, see. We said, look, me could live this day, me could drive most of company, let me and get money. And me big man, me 12. Right? Me a man now, me 12 years of age, and me could drive lorry. True, but me tall.
So let me ask you. So the masquerade you started out with was Salem Masquerade.
Yeah.
What's the furthest village you've gone to dancing masquerade? You would leave Salem and go. What's the furthest you would go?
Town. Never go for gate. Yes, we go for gate, it's Miss Data. Gate is Miss Data for gate. I don't know Miss Data?
No.
For gauges? But the big town through it?
No.
Nobody know that. I just go start Miss Data. Because it's sell bread and things like. And then come back down.
Okay, so you never met the masquerades from the east?
Yes. I met with Jim Galloway them. When Boxing Day, St. John's Day, I went to see him one day. And I was well, hold fast because Harris's masquerade had come. To see him, who go up a water, walks to Hallina, who go back to Harris's. Right? When he come in, he say, he cannot go, he only chop. But Kwame roll the drum. Because when you dance in masquerade, it's the music that lifts you for dance. Not drinking, the music lifts you for dance. So when the white come in and he start chop. So me up them say, you're chop, you're good. When they done now, me say, number one codwell, Kwame. Kwame start knock number one codwell. And when they see, everybody move out, jockey bar, put it on, so Kimbo, so he just dance out. Like sweet me, everybody. And he start now, he say, well, the captain, tell him, yeah, I am the captain for this. Not you. You watch to see your man, just let me say, you watch to see your man move to you all. Different. Every district at Masquerade go back, because let me tell you something, here we go. When you're in town, everybody speak good English. But when you left out of town and go, gauges, they speak a different kind of language. All of you go back like that and get long ground. Right? Speak out of order. So, that's what we match them up with. So, a matter of fact is this. We all get good like that. So, I will dance, and that done, they didn't see him. So, me call for number one cudgel on, like dance, and I say, I hear Magazine, everybody just say, here, put me face one side, here Magazine. So, he get to know me, Jim, get very good. He shake his head, and me feel good of him. You see, but you see what happened with them? Really white me live now up here. You know, Miss Feely was 5 years. When this cutter leave Bellum, when this cutter leave Gauges, he come at that wood. Listen to me good, are you listening? When this cutter leaves Gauges, he come at that wood. You know that will be? Pahaling up here on a bridge. Right? Are you listening? You know we're going to it, you know. We're going in. So when this start about the Masquerade and see him now. So we come back here now. When this cutter leaves Gauges, he come at Bellum Bridge in a place there. Right? And we all they got me, Uncle Mingo Wade, and Bunting, the Adventist minister, Brother Bunting, Philip Bunting, live up there, so. And Mingo come up, 12 o'clock now. Mr. Harney there, we run the government, Tad there, and who is there? I think Billy Bramble me there too. So, Mingo was there, they're collecting stones for this crusher. Yeah? And now we're going to the gritty. So, here speak, you tell us the whole crowd about where he sail and go. I listen to this. So, a matter of fact is this, Brother Bunting tell him, Mr. Wade, we'll go for Adventist for the wall map and bring it, and we want you to turn your back and trace the map and leave it here. He went up before Catholic till he come back. He bring the big wall map. Everybody knows the wall map. He stick it up on the Emancipation tree, big fat Emancipation tree. Hold it up there. He said, let me tell you all what happened. He said, King George sent out 3 boats, sailing craft. They see a stone out there in the sea, marked Suffolk and no further. So they want to know what behind that stone. And the 3 boats, you ever see it on cigarette box in your view? Yeah. Carrying back and tin. And to go through. And how he didn't go through, the wind fairly. And they boat and come back. So when they come back now, they hit Africa. Nobody Griffey. So Bunting traced the map and you see all where he go, and they turn it back and they read the map. He said, yes. When you're going in Africa, what you see? He said, when you go to Ghana, I can't, just because he know me remember it. And when you go in there, you see some people that jig up themselves, or walk up themselves, some men. So he say, ask one of the men, why you are dressed like that? He said, they dressed like that get away from the slave.
From the slave
Slave master.
Slave master.
They disguise themselves that way to get away from the slave master. But when they live up in court too high, drop so, I would tell the slave master, beg your pardon, beg for kiss the ass.
Tell the slave master what?
For kiss the ass.
Okay.
They don't know them.
Uh-huh.
They disguise. So Mingo say, ask them, what is by your face? He said, the face from the slave master, make them out. And how you are dressed so. He said, for this kite from the slave master, and catch them and go kill them. So you go right up to their face and throw them court up high. And you know them, they go kill them. Anyway, Mingo say, he see how they move. So when he came back from sea, when he come back from the sea, he come up a sailing. And he go down to Bohampo. He said he go to party, go down to Bohampo, pan. Don't I see him up there. And he meet up with, yes, this is what you tell us. Meet up with Bashi, Jopan, Wilpan, and Jam Barracks, 4 brothers. And Bohampo, I know Bohampo, I know Papa's spirit, I grandfather. And he started to tell them what he see in Africa, but they must create them. How they dance and they shimmy and they make them. He said, listen, he said, when they go to the people's house and they bow their heads up, come back and they up so, they shake their head, they bow back so, and they dance and they dance and dance. He said, love that. Mingo say, love the dancing. And they bring it and they give, he tell them no about Hampo Pan. But he took it from there that day, and he carried it to town, and he never come out to see him. And he kept him for tongue mass. Then built up Masquerade in the tongue, and he kept him for tongue mass.
Let's get the names right. The uncle that went to Africa, what was his name?
Mingo Wade.
Mingo Wade.
Mm-hmm.
And the Masquerade that left and went to town and never came back, what was his name?
Bashi Pan.
Bashi Pan.
Bashi.
Okay.
It's 4 brothers then. He got Bashi, Will, Jopan, and John Barracks. Well, here magazine tell you good as gold.
Okay. That's interesting history. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the Masquerade itself.
Well, good.
The Masquerade, how many members are in the Masquerade group?
Well, you could carry as much as what you want. But we always carry 6 men.
List the role that each man play.
Well, he got the captain.
Mm-hmm.
Listen good. The captain, the mate, the chief mate, the warrior, the carrier, and the mischief.
The captain, the mate,
And the chief mate,
the warrior, the tarrier, and the mischief.
that's right,
And you started out as a warrior.
warrior.
Okay. Tell us how you work your way up to captain.
Well, a matter of fact is this, I could move good, so everybody hear from me that I'm the best dancer, because that's why they put me warrior. For people look at me dance with style, they says to me, Magazine, you dance Masquerade with style just like your father and your uncle Jimmy Lee Quarterhouse. Me say, what? They say, I saw your father dance Masquerade, Kenny Lee, and my father, call it Kenny Bouquet. Man with the girls them, call him, it's a good, plenty of women he got, call it Kenny Bouquet. And they said, good. So one day we in Salem, and steel band come up. I listen. Steel band come up. We right by Loretta shop. The setup was Masquerade there. And the steel band come up outside. You know this part, when we work at the rum shop there?
Yeah.
Right now, Peter Braid got my shop, rum shop there. So then come up now. You hear about All Star?
Yes.
Good. He make it up in the ceiling. Brown. The boy named Brown. But he then gonna Canada. But then did me saying gonna Canada. Right? So still man up the tearing nothing. So me see you know in Masquerade. Me say look. So one of them boy judge the girl come on to me, Magazine. Brown got all the people them over there, and you know got nobody. Me say, me never did. Me say, I going to bring them back here. Innocent Assembly. Me, Magazine, going to bring them back here. And I have to bring, they said, JBC. So when we there now, we said, look, everybody here, 6 of us, we said, fly north. Number 5 cordial dance, fly north, up and down. We said, look, you and your partner, you dance the man, he dance the woman. You dance the man, he dance the woman. You dance the man, he dance the woman. And they have to come back here, long change. Now look, we got one, we say, look, line up here. Line up from here to the gate. And when you hear me do so, carry on, up and down, and just let me hear the victim talk Spanish. And the victim start, and man go up and go down, go up and go down, go up and go down, dancing masquerade. They come back right here now, can be started. So Brother Bramble come and say, Magazine, you're good. You see out there now? They left the steel band come back here to us. Me say, me have to bring them back, me come in the middle. Flying out, chopping whip attack Spanish. After that, no, he say, well, look, what we do now? Are we done? 6 o'clock, finish. So, when, matter of fact, that done. So, my Uncle Mingo come on to see, you know, with the horse. He bring this horse from, he said, he fight the war, so he must be get over here to his horse, a white horse. And when the horse come and see him, go up see him road, he has jumped from 1 foot, turn up, put it 2 foot. He took behind foot down, he took front foot up. And you dance, you go up from 1 come over there. So everybody, what the horse? Because he's musing. And they out and he gone.
To the masquerade beat?
No.
Oh, okay.
You let dance like that. So he training how to war horse. So that's the way it goes.
Okay, just before you give us a look at your costume and all that.
Tell me all about that.
The money part. How much what's the most money you made dancing masquerade at one time?
Well, at one time I make about £16 one day. 16 pounds one day.
That's about how much money today?
Oh God. Well, it's a lot of money for today.
$500?
About a bit more than that.
About $700?
About that.
Wow.
Sorry, you carry on.
I was saying, so people who dance masquerade at that time, they had other jobs, or that's what you
Yes, no, they have other jobs. They're working.
And they only dance, when do you dance? What time of the year?
Only when Christmas comes.
Christmas time.
It's a week we get to enjoy ourselves and we dance.
Okay.
But a matter of fact, the man they have to come to practice before the 5th of November night.
That's Guy Fawkes night.
Right? You have to practice because you might, what they don't know, they just get up and say, go blah, 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 and knock. But you have to practice before Guy Fawkes knock. Come up.
So once Guy Fawkes, once the 5th of November, it starts.
You start.
And then the dancing from house to house begins.
No. When the 5th, everybody practice. We go to practice. I will practice at Salem tonight and somewhere else, all over like that. So you go on.
Okay.
So everybody in good condition. But still not late. If you late, you get lash.
Right.
Discipline. And you can't go tell you, oh, you come in. No, not like that. Mr. or Mrs. My mistress is my queen. And my mother-in-law dance queen for me too. Miss Jane Daly, my wife's mother.
But the queen, you said the group have captain and mate.
Yes.
What role, where the queen come in?
Well, the queen come between there. And is a woman. How she just got one man a dance queen for them. The fella me name in my time, they forget when. Her name good. Her name good. Anyway.
So you said the woman, the masquerade group would have in a queen.
A queen.
The masquerade group would have in a queen.
And the bull there, the devil there, the bull.
Right, the bull and them goose, that was part of the masquerade group?
Well, yes.
Not, okay.
Yes.
So it would travel with the masquerade group? Interesting.
The bull just traveled with the masquerade.
Okay. word is, during your time, Reggie
Oh.
is supposed to be one of our best masquerades. Had you meet? When did you encounter Reggie first?
One day, one Friday, we going to Gauges. We pick up that already before. And when I get there, we get about long cedar tree. You hear about long cedar tree?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the masquerade. So, me got me ask, what captain? One and tell me, somebody, let me say, okay. I'll give you a coffee number one control. Reggie was there, he had danced with them. And I said, look, that's not my style of dancing. And we Reggie move with him, catch Reggie, one cross here, me both you come right down. Chop off everything after me. He looked on me, so me tell you, yes, I am
Say it again. You use your whip
Yes,
and you hit Reggie
yes.
for what now?
He make a wrong move
And he's
in
from
number one quadrille.
but he's from another masquerade group.
Yes, we meet them there along. Listen to me. We meet them at Long Cedar Tree.
Engages.
No. You know where Long Cedar Tree is? Up around the village.
Okay.
Let me tell you, he got the road from Lovers Lane, and one coming up from town, come right up there, and then the road meet up. We call it Long Cedar Tree.
Okay.
Cedar Tree was there.
So Salem Masquerade pretty much clash with Gage's Masquerade at Long Cedar Tree.
Nice, right. Now you got it.
And Reggie made a wrong move.
Wrong move.
And you, as the captain of Salem Masquerade,
Call him one less critical. He just tell me about the street. Muggerson, that's you make a wrong move.
so the captain of a group had that kind of power.
Of course, the captain got to move, have that power to do anything. But you can't hit me, lash me, the captain. I have to lash you.
Right. Some who did research said the captain had the power to arrest people.
Oh my, yes. That happens already. Even to see.
So the captain of a masquerade group had the power to actually arrest other masquerades, or
No, why he got now his group.
okay,
What I have in my group, I could arrest you for the balance of the week.
wow.
Because you're out of order. So this is going by discipline. You can't go say, no, everything goes by discipline. If you're late, me will lash you. And every man going to hit you 6 lash.
Wow.
And I feel good.
All right, so we hear you still have your costume.
Yes.
From when you used to dance in Salem
No.
Masquerade.
Let me tell you. After me and my wife come from England, the boys asked me where to go teach the boy how to dance masquerade. Because look, them, when I come here first on holiday, listen carefully, the clothes that they have, cross here, while the piece that they have naked. So, he said, that's not good. So me tell my wife, she's a simple, me tell her, I go and get the clothes them and show you how to make the masquerade clothes. Me have them right, and they did them for me. And me go, City Bunting used to make the clothes up for Salem. So I asked me, City and in England, so my wife make it for me. And me just sit back and me show you how to do it and so on. And so extra, me help you do that.
All right, so you want to go and show us what your costume look like, and let's get a little moment of you showing us 1 or 2 steps. Well, Mr. Magazine,
Yeah.
it was a pleasure. We went through a lot to get this interview, and I want to tell you we thank you very much, and it was a pleasure
You're
to
welcome.
interview
You're
the last of this era, the last masquerade from this era, Mr. Magazine. Thanks again, Mr. Magazine.
You're welcome.
masquerade being part of Montserrat and the culture. As a culture, and masquerade being part of us, sometimes I wonder if it's, to me sometimes I recognize this spiritual connection. You want to know if our ancestors, if there's a connection between us and our ancestors through masquerades. Because as a Monstration, in the Montserrat communities overseas, like in Canada, where we have masquerade groups, in England, in the United States. You go to a party in one of these, Montserrat communities overseas. In a second, you would see masquerade dancing. Just the sound of a drum, masquerade drum, and everybody dancing. There will be a party with everybody dancing, and it also has some strong debates. In masquerading create this cultural thing where, as I said, as I talked about the village part of it, where every village thought the masquerade was the best. So today, you go to certain parties, it's easy for a debate or an argument to start about real masquerades, modern masquerades, or who were the best masquerades, or what village had the best, and people knew the captains by name. So you hear people still talking about guys like Boxy and all these guys.
Hey, Coach John, come here.
What you say?
You ever hear about number 10 in the masquerade?
Nothing goes on.
All right.
We know about number 1 to number 5.
Number 5. Thank you.
Andrew.
All right, okay, Linford. This is another masquerade dancer, professional masquerade dancer from St. Peter's, Montserrat. Dance with Boxy.
Little Lenny,
Yes.
What you say?
Master.
So what, them had a masquerade
Mischief.
argument here?
Listen to me. There's no number 10 in masquerade. Where you get that from?
So what you say? You used to dance for St. Peter's
I danced for
masquerade?
3 years with Boxy.
It passed for St. Peter's masquerade?
Mischief.
As the mischief?
Yes. What?
Yes, I. But me tell them, remember you dancing masquerade for St. Peter's. And a Boxy you said was the captain.
Boxy. And you have the other Boxy from selling was the bull.
Because people used to mix up the Boxy them.
You got Boxy with the bull, with the horn.
Right.
You got stick with the mask. When you hear Christmas, December start, Boxy was in charge of you. You have to get authorization from him and your parents to go dance with him. He's responsible for the whole Christmas season. That's how masquerade was.
Yes, sir. So they had a masquerade argument here tonight?
Yes, they had a masquerade argument.
I say what?
But you have certain people, when you tell them one, they don't even know how the change go. They don't even know how the change go, right? And I hear talking about number 10. I dance professional masquerade with Andrew, a man from Weekses, with Boxy, and 2 brothers from Harris's for years. And there's no number 10. And you have some imitation masquerades here saying that they could dance masquerade.
we gonna get back to this.
Yeah, man.
Is it number 10 by, I mean, that the creation becoming this way, or it is history losing its essence?
When we lose, I believe definitely we're losing the
structure of
the real original part of Masquerade. And like everything else, time evolves, and I believe Masquerade itself is evolving. So I believe 10 years from now, what you remember as Masquerade, I think it's going to be different.
And I remember as a masquerader, your mask must be always on your face. There's no time at all, the mask, so nobody know who is who.
Exactly.
And you don't dare to bend down to pick up a coin while the dance is going on.
Exactly. Anyway, we're here in New York at a party, and I just ran into a couple veteran masquerades on one side. Please. So it's a thing that's within Montserratians, and also it's not, Masquerade is not exclusive to Montserrat, by the way. You know, in the region we have St. Kitts Masquerade, we have Guadeloupe masquerades, we have masquerades in the region, but the Montserrat masquerade, maybe as a Montserratian, I just think it's unique, you know, and I travel a lot, and I don't see masquerades internationally like I see the Montserrat masquerades. Like I talked about the Montserrat community, the various Montserrat communities in England, in the USA, in Canada. It's just part of the Montserrat community is there. So this is the Montserrat Masquerades of Montserrat. Check it out. Check out the DVD. You can download it, whatever. Masquerades of Montserrat.